Beowulf, a close read analysis.
Beowulf. When he heard about Grendel, Higelac Thane was on home ground, over in Geatland. There was no one else like him alive. In his day, he was the mightiest man on earth, high-born and powerful. He ordered a boat that would ply the waves. He announced his plan: to sail the Swan's Road and search out that king, the famous prince who needed defenders. Nobody tried to keep him from going. No elder denied him, dear as he was to them. Instead, they inspected omens and spurred his ambition to go, whilst he moved about like the leader he was, enlisting men, the best he could find. With 14 others, the warrior boarded the boat as captain, a canny pilot along coast and currents.
Analyze characteristics of an epic poem. Annotate. Highlight words and phrases in lines 109 to 124 that characterize Beowulf as a hero. Infer. What is the hero's motivation to go on this quest? There was no one else like him alive. This phrase establishes Beowulf's uniqueness and exceptional status among men, highlighting his distinctiveness as a hero. In his day, he was the mightiest man on earth. This description emphasizes Beowulf's unparalleled strength and power, a key characteristic of a heroic figure. High-born and powerful. The term high-born indicates Beowulf's noble lineage, while powerful underlines his physical strength and authority, both traits that contribute to his heroic stature. He ordered a boat that would ply the waves. This shows Beowulf's decisiveness and leadership as he takes action and makes arrangements for the journey, demonstrating his initiative and courage. He announced his plan to sail the Swan's Road and search out that king, the famous prince who needed defenders. Beowulf openly declares his intention to face the challenge, reflecting his bravery and willingness to help those in need. Nobody tried to keep him from going. No elder denied him, dear as he was to them. The respect and support he receives from his people, including the elders, indicate their trust in his abilities and their recognition of his heroism. They inspected omens and spurred his ambition to go. This suggests that even the community and its spiritual leaders believe in his success and divine favor, reinforcing his status as a chosen hero. He moved about like the leader he was, enlisting men, the best he could find. This highlights his qualities as a leader, taking charge and selecting only the most capable warriors to accompany him. The warrior boarded the boat as captain, a canny pilot along coast and currents. Describes Beowulf not only as a warrior, but also as a skilled and wise leader, canny pilot, who can navigate challenges, enhancing his heroism. Beowulf's motivation to go on this quest appears to be driven by several factors. Desire for glory and fame. As indicated by his determination to be the one to face Grendel, Beowulf seeks to prove himself as the mightiest man alive, pursuing glory and recognition through heroic deeds. A sense of duty and honor. Beowulf feels a strong sense of obligation to help Hrothgar, the famous prince who needed defenders. His noble lineage and warrior code likely instill in him a sense of responsibility to protect and defend those in need. Recognition and support from his people. His people, including the elders, support his decision and see him as a leader, motivating him further to embark on the quest and succeed. Leadership and challenge. His actions demonstrate his leadership qualities and his willingness to face formidable challenges, driven by a heroic desire to confront and defeat a fearsome foe like Grendel.
At the door of the hall, Wulfgar duly delivered the message. My lord, the conquering king of the Danes, bids me announce that he knows your ancestry. Also, that he welcomes you here to Heorot, and salutes your arrival from across the sea. You are free now to move forward, to meet Hrothgar, in helmets and armor. But shields must stay here, and spears be stacked until the outcome of the audience is clear. The hero arose, surrounded closely by his powerful thanes. A party remained under orders to keep watch on the arms. The rest proceeded, led by their prince, under Heorot's roof. And standing on the hearth in webbed links that the smith had woven, the fine forged mesh of his gleaming mail shirt, resolute in his helmet, Beowulf spoke.
Language conventions. Annotate. Highlight the words or phrases in lines 131 to 141 describing Beowulf. Analyze. What mood is created by the poet's word choice? The hero arose. This phrase directly refers to Beowulf as the hero, immediately reinforcing his status and central role in the narrative. Surrounded closely by his powerful thanes. This phrase indicates Beowulf's leadership and his command over his loyal followers, who were described as powerful, underscoring the strength of his company. A party remained under orders to keep watch on the arms. Reflects Beowulf's strategic thinking and preparedness, as he ensures that some of his men remain to guard their weapons. The rest proceeded, led by their prince. Beowulf is referred to as their prince, which emphasizes his nobility, leadership, and the respect his men have for him. Under Heorot's roof. This phrase indicates the setting and suggests the beginning of an important encounter or audience with Hrothgar. Standing on the hearth in webbed links that the smith had woven. Describes Beowulf's appearance, highlighting his webbed links, chainmail, created by a skilled smith, which suggests his readiness for battle and his warrior status. The fine forged mesh of his gleaming mail shirt. The phrase emphasizes the quality, fine forged, and appearance, gleaming, of Beowulf's armor, further depicting him as a prepared and formidable warrior. Resolute in his helmet. The word resolute characterizes Beowulf's determined and unwavering attitude, while in his helmet reflects his readiness for whatever may come. The poet's choice of words creates a mood of anticipation and tension mixed with admiration. The use of terms like hero, powerful thanes, and led by their prince elevates Beowulf's status, presenting him as a noble and heroic figure who commands respect and loyalty. The description of his armor, webbed links, fine forged mesh, and gleaming mail shirt contributes to a sense of admiration and awe, emphasizing his preparedness for battle and the impending meeting with Hrothgar. Additionally, words like resolute convey a mood of determination and readiness, hinting at an impending confrontation or significant event. The mood is one of seriousness and expectation, as Beowulf prepares to meet Hrothgar and possibly face whatever challenges await him.
Greetings to Hrothgar. I am Hygelac's kinsman, one of his hall troop. When I was younger, I had great triumphs. Then news of Grendel, hard to ignore, reached me at home. Sailors brought stories of the plight you suffer in this legendary hall, how it lies deserted, empty and useless once the evening light hides itself under heaven's dome. So every elder and experienced councilman among my people supported my resolve to come here to you, King Hrothgar, because all knew of my awesome strength. They had seen me boltered in the blood of enemies when I battled and bound 5 beasts, raided a troll nest, and in the night sea slaughtered sea brutes. I have suffered extremes and avenged the Geats. Their enemies brought it upon themselves. I devastated them. Now I mean to be a match for Grendel, settle the outcome in single combat. And so, my request, O King of bright Danes, dear Prince of the Shieldings, friend of the people and their ring of defense, my one request is that you won't refuse me, who have come this far, the privilege of purifying Heorot. With my own men to help me, and nobody else, I have heard, moreover, that the monster scorns in his reckless way to use weapons. Therefore, to heighten Higelac's fame and gladden his heart, I hereby renounce sword and the shelter of the broad shield. The heavy war-board. Hand to hand is how it will be, a life and death fight with the fiend. Whichever one death fells must deem it a just judgment by God. If Grendel wins, it will be a gruesome day. He will glut himself on the Geats in the war hall, swoop without fear on that flower of manhood as on others before. Then my face won't be there to be covered in death. He will carry me away as he goes to ground gorged and bloodied. He will run gloating with my raw corpse and feed on it alone in a cruel frenzy, fouling his moor nest. No need, then, to lament for long, or lay out my body. If the battle takes me, send back my mail shirt, this breast-webbing that Wayland fashioned and Hrethel gave me, to Lord Higelac. Fate goes ever as fate must. Hrothgar, the helmet of shielding, spoke. Beowulf, my friend, you have traveled here to favor us with help and to fight for us. There was a feud one time, begun by your father. With his own hands, he had killed Hitholaf, who was a wolfing. So war was looming, and his people, in fear of it, forced him to leave. He came away then, over rolling waves to the South Danes here, the sons of honor. I was then in the first flush of kingship, establishing my sway over all the rich strongholds of this heroic land. Haregar, my older brother, and the better man, also a son of Halfdane's, had died. Finally, I healed the feud by paying. I shipped a treasure trove to the Wolfings, and Ecgtheow acknowledged me with oaths of allegiance.
Memory moment. Notice and note. Highlight the words or phrases in lines 191 to 207, highlighting the history between Hrothgar and Beowulf. Infer. What can you infer from Hrothgar sharing the story of the relationship between himself and the poem's hero? There was a feud one time, begun by your father. This indicates a past conflict involving Beowulf's father, establishing a historical connection between Beowulf's family and Hrothgar. With his own hands he had killed Hitholaf, who was a wolfing. This phrase provides specific details about the feud, mentioning that Beowulf's father killed a man named Hitholaf from the wolfing tribe. So war was looming, and his people, in fear of it, forced him to leave. Describes the consequences of the feud and why Beowulf's father had to flee his homeland to avoid the impending war. He came away then over rolling waves to the South Danes here, the sons of honor. Explains that Beowulf's father sought refuge with the South Danes, Hrothgar's people, showing a direct connection to Hrothgar's kingdom. I was then in the first flush of kingship, establishing my sway over all the rich strongholds of this heroic land. Hrothgar recalls his early days as king, providing context for when Beowulf's father arrived seeking his help. Herogar, my older brother and the better man, also a son of Halfdanus, had died. Mentions Hrothgar's brother, Herogar, adding more background to the royal family dynamics at the time. Finally, I healed the feud by paying. I shipped a treasure trove to the Wolfings. Hrothgar reveals that he resolved the conflict by paying reparations to the Wolfings, showing his role as a peacemaker. Ecgtheow acknowledged me with oaths of allegiance. Beowulf's father, Ecgtheow, pledged loyalty to Hrothgar in return for his help, establishing a bond between their families. From Hrothgar's sharing of the story, we can infer several key points about the relationship between him and Beowulf. A debt of honor and gratitude. Hrothgar's actions in resolving the feud for Beowulf's father, Ecgtheow, created a bond of loyalty and obligation between their families. By recounting this story, Hrothgar is reminding Beowulf of this past debt, suggesting that Beowulf's arrival to help with Grendel is seen as a fulfillment of this familial duty. Mutual respect and recognition. Hrothgar's willingness to recount the story and welcome Beowulf shows a mutual respect between them. It also indicates that Hrothgar views Beowulf's arrival as an honorable gesture that acknowledges their shared history. Acknowledgement of Beowulf's lineage and reputation. Hrothgar's words highlight the importance of lineage and reputation in their culture. By emphasizing Beowulf's father's actions and the resulting alliance, he acknowledges Beowulf's noble background and inherent qualities as a warrior. Building trust and solidarity. By sharing this personal story, Hrothgar aims to strengthen the bond and trust between himself and Beowulf. He establishes a connection based on past loyalty and service, which may encourage solidarity and cooperation in the battle against Grendel. A strategic reminder. Hrothgar's recounting may also serve as a subtle reminder to Beowulf of the history and expectations tied to their relationship. It underscores the sense of duty Beowulf has in aiding Hrothgar, given the past favor done for his father, thereby reinforcing Beowulf's motivation to prove himself worthy and uphold his family's honor.
It bothers me to have to burden anyone with all the grief Grendel has caused, and the havoc he has wreaked upon us in Heorot. Our humiliations, my household guard, are on the wane. Fate sweeps them away into Grendel's clutches. But God can easily halt these raids and harrowing attacks. Time and again, when the goblets passed and seasoned fighters got flushed with beer, they would pledge themselves to protect Heorot and wait for Grendel with whetted swords. But when dawn broke and day crept in, over each empty, blood-spattered bench, the floor of the mead hall where they had feasted would be slick with slaughter. And so they died, faithful retainers, and my following dwindled. Now take your place at the table. Relish the triumph of heroes to your heart's content. Then a bench was cleared in that banquet hall, so the Geats could have room to be together, and the party sat, proud in their bearing, strong and stalwart. An attendant stood by with a decorated pitcher, pouring bright helpings of mead, and the minstrel sang, filling Heorot with his head-clearing voice, gladdening that great rally of Geats and Danes.